Hi, thanks for joining me today. We're going to look at some promotional cutlery related to the Brown Shoe Company of St. Louis, Missouri, which are a knife from the earlier Hamilton Brown Shoe Company, also of St. Louis, and a hatchet, and some camp knives produced as Buster Brown promotions. The Hamilton Brown Shoe Company was founded in 1873 in St. Louis, Missouri. By the early 1900s, it was the largest shoe manufacturer in the world. It was later surpassed by and absorbed into the Brown Shoe Company, also of St. Louis, famous for their association with the character Buster Brown. This first knife is from the earlier Hamilton Brown Shoe Company. It's a brass-handled 3-inch 2-blade penknife. This knife would have been a custom order for Hamilton, imported from Solingen, Germany around the 1920s. The writing advertises Twinkle Toe Shoes, made by the Hamilton Brown Company, which was their brand geared towards kids. I think they were girls' shoes. This says Twinkle Shoes, but the product line was Twinkle Toe. Supposedly the creator of Twinkies, snack cakes, named those after seeing a billboard for these shoes, I guess. This side has the mascots of the product line, also named the Twinkies. Absolutely frightening. Somehow this appealed to little girls in the 1920s, and Hamilton put their product placement in books and toys and print ads and knives, I suppose, featuring these horrifying creatures. They were pretty popular.
Mommy, I want leather-buckled shoes. And the devil elves gave me this knife.
I looked all over and never found another mention of this knife existing. It's in great shape, never used or sharpened. The blades are simple carbon steel, and the rest of it appears to be brass. Very minor rust on the tang is all. It's 100 years old, and the tang simply reads Hamilton Brown Shoe Company, St. Louis, and then Germany in parentheses, so it was made in Solingen and imported. And if you thought we were done with Devil Child Shoe Company mascots, meet Buster Brown and his dog Teague of the later Brown Shoe Company out of St. Louis. I didn't. That's actually real. And the Brown Company bought Buster's rights in 1904 at the World's Fair. He was a huge success. All the kids wanted Buster Browns, and then they went on to make a bunch of knives and hatchets for the kids as well. And next is this hatchet. I like to call it a hand axe, from the 1920s era. There's a few of these you can find here and there online, and each of the ones I found have the same size head with the same stamp, except a few that just say Buster Brown's name and no image. It's not as good as the set that I got with my first pair of Reeboks, but what do you expect for the 1920s? It's my opinion this would have been made by Shapleigh Hardware, also of St. Louis. They were making identical hatchets at the time under their Diamond Edge brand, and they were already contracted with Brown Shoe Company to make smaller camp knives, so I'm betting the manufacturer on these were the local Shapleigh Hardware. From head to tail is 11 inches, and the head's length is 5.5. The stamp's very clear. The hatchet itself has some wear. There's some unfortunate grinder marks at the top, at the base, I guess. I don't know what to call this. It's not unused. It looks like it was minorly sharpened once. It's got a beautiful dark patina, though. We can tell this is 100-year-old steel. The top has seen better days. This would have been flush when it was new. I think the handle is hickory. It may be ashwood. If you put this in Google image search, you'll find most all the known remaining axes have a boy's axe style curved handle like this. I didn't see any others with this more simple one. Also on that image, we could see the remains of some branded logo on the wood, which validates to me that this is an original handle and not a replacement. And next I'm going to look at this thick tunning blade, which is engraved with Buster Brown Health Shoes, and a dual stamp says Brown Shoe Company, St. Louis, USA, and Marbles, Gladstone, Michigan, USA on the other side. The etching says Health Shoes, and what that means is in this time period, it was common to think that your feet's health was critical to your overall health, and at this time people were moving away from the Victorian era footwear. It's restrictive, so Buster Brown shoes are comfortable and therefore healthy. This is a Woodcraft. It's a fixed tunning blade made by Marbles Cutlery. The Woodcraft is well known. It's an iconic original American hunter blade. Most future hunting blades were modeled after this. This one's got a bit of wear and aging. I think this is purposefully dull. We can see the tip is rounded in comparison to a real Woodcraft at least. It might have been dulled by a parent or the distributor, I don't know. The ridges on the spine are called a jimping or a thumb grip for skinning and fine blade work. And because of that, you don't want a full guard here. And the handle is a mix of leather and steel rings, which marbles used a lot. This knife, I found in the frame that it had been in for a quarter of its life, but there would have also been a leather sheath to go with it at one point. And on the pommel, some odd dents or something. Someone used it as a hammer, I bet. I see this all the time. It looks like a cheap soft metal, perhaps aluminum, which at that time wouldn't have been considered cost-cutting, but rather a premium metal. And that's a fun knife. And then last, we have this equal-end folding Scout camp knife made for Brown Shoe Company by Shapleigh Hardware Company, also of St. Louis. And of the camp knife, of the Buster Brown camp knives, there's a few different styles of these you can find. And in my travels, I found there's an Imperial 3-blade. I think that's like the cheaper one. There's this one here. I don't know anything about it. It's very similar to mine, but it's got a larger spear point with a long pull. Otherwise, it's pretty similar. There's no markings on it, and the few I saw were being sold with no real info. And there's this really nice one here, thought to be made by Utica, and you can find the owner's video here on YouTube. And then I saw a 2-blade jack somewhere, but I didn't look into it. This one is a 4-blade Shapleigh Hardware camp knife. The cap lifter has the manufacturer stamp, which is Shapleigh Hardware Company, and the center says DE, or their brand Diamond Edge. The main blade says Brown Shoe Company, St. Louis, USA on the front ting. And on the back is the Diamond Edge. It's got this unfortunate divot here. I don't even know how something like that could happen. This guy is a leather punch or an awl used for making holes in things. Then there's this sharp can opener, different than a cap lifter. The handle looks like a nice jig bone, but I'm betting it's a Brown Delrin. These were mass produced on the cheap probably, and it just doesn't have that bone feel, I guess. It's hard to explain. Bolsters seem like standard nickel silver and a brass liner, and it's got this cool bail, which adds some character. And that's all I've got from this stamp. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, please subscribe.